You want to know the single biggest mistake serious gardeners make when it comes to feeding their soil? They rely on generic bagged fertilizers and expect their plants to thrive without building actual soil biology. It's what I see over and over in raised beds, backyard plots, and even hydroponic systems where people think synthetic nutrients are a magic bullet. The consequence is predictable stunted growth, weaker root systems, and soil that gets depleted year after year. If you care about results, not just appearances, you need to start thinking differently. And yes, by the way, if you haven't subscribed yet, hit that button now. This channel is about actual tested techniques that transform your garden, not fluff. What I've been experimenting with this past few seasons and seen consistently outperform every standard fertilizer is a combination of leaf mold and grass pellets. Leaf mold is often underestimated because it doesn't contain flashy NPK numbers on a label, but in reality it's a soil-building powerhouse. When fully decomposed, leaf mold is almost pure humus. It improves water retention, increases microbial life, and conditions your soil structure in ways nothing else can. Grass pellets, on the other hand, are a concentrated nitrogen source that breaks down steadily without burning roots, unlike fresh grass clippings. The synergy between these two is what creates what I call the ultimate fertilizer hack for 2026. Let's start with the leaf mold. You need fully decomposed leaves, brown, crumbly, and earthy smelling. In my raised beds, I aim for a layer about 2 inches thick, mixed into the top 6 inches of soil. If you're working with a backyard garden plot, that translates to roughly 50 litres per 10 square feet of bed area. In hydroponic setups, I don't apply it directly to water systems, but I do incorporate it into soil-based substrate mixes, especially for leafy greens and root crops. The goal is the same, a medium teeming with microbial life that can support rapid nutrient cycling. Leaf mold doesn't feed plants instantly, but it feeds your soil in a way synthetic fertilizers never will, and that's what produces stronger, resilient plants. Now, onto grass pellets. I use these at a rate of roughly 100 grams per square foot for established beds, lightly worked into the topsoil. They release nitrogen gradually, which feeds plants steadily without causing spikes that lead to lush top growth at the expense of root development. For new beds, I incorporate them directly during initial soil preparation, combined with leaf mold at roughly a 2-to-1 ratio, 2 parts leaf mold to 1 part grass pellets. This ensures the soil gets structured and enriched while still providing a predictable nitrogen boost. In hydroponics or container systems, I grind the pellets slightly and mix them into compost-based media, so nutrients are released slowly over the growing cycle. A mistake I see often is gardeners trying to shortcut this process by using fresh leaves or clippings directly on the soil. Fresh material may look organic, but it ties up nitrogen as it decomposes and can actually slow growth. Leaf mold is the difference between feeding the soil now versus feeding it later. The decomposition process for leaf mold can take 6 months to a year, but it's worth it. If you don't have that kind of time, you can speed things up using a stacked worm composting system. Personally, I use the top Zeon 5-layer worm compost bin for this purpose. It's compact, efficient, and lets you convert kitchen scraps and garden waste into nutrient-rich castings and liquid fertilizer. I've linked it in the description for anyone who wants a tested, no-nonsense setup. With this system, you can accelerate leaf decomposition, incorporate worm castings, and produce a living soil amendment faster than the traditional pile method. When applying this leaf mold and grass pellet combo, timing matters. I do this prep in late fall or early spring. Late fall allows winter decomposition so that by the time spring planting starts, the soil is alive and ready. For spring prep, I aim to apply the mixture 2 weeks before planting so microbial activity ramps up immediately as roots go in. I also incorporate occasional watering during dry periods to kickstart biological activity. In raised beds, a consistent moisture level ensures that the leaf mold integrates fully, and in backyard plots, I create shallow trenches to place the mix before raking it evenly into the top layer. In hydroponic-based substrate systems, I ensure the mix is slightly moistened before planting to avoid nitrogen drawdown issues. One trade-off you need to understand. This method doesn't produce instant color change or explosive growth like high-nitrogen chemical fertilizers. What it does is far more valuable in the long run. Plants develop deeper, more robust roots, resist pests naturally, and yield consistently higher quality fruits and vegetables. On average, I see a 15 to 20% increase in harvest weight across tomatoes, peppers, and leafy greens in beds amended with leaf mold and grass pellets compared to those using conventional fertilizers alone. And beyond yield, soil structure improves season after season, meaning less watering, less erosion, and fewer nutrient imbalances. If you want to scale this up for a larger garden, the same principles apply, just adjust volumes proportionally. For a 100 square foot raised bed, I'll typically use about 500 litres of leaf mold and 250 litres of grass pellets mixed thoroughly into the top 8 inches of soil. For container systems or small patios, you'll want to proportionally reduce to about 5 to 10 litres of leaf mold and 2 to 5 litres of grass pellets per large container. You want to achieve the same ratio, roughly 2 parts leaf mold to 1 part grass pellet. This keeps nutrient release balanced and avoids burning roots. I also want to correct a common misconception about fertilizer speed. Many gardeners think fast-release fertilizers give better results. In reality, plants grown in biologically active soil respond more to nutrient cycling than immediate concentration. Leaf mold and grass pellets feed microbes first, microbes feed plants second, and the results are honestly superior. This also reduces the need for supplemental chemical fertilization during the season. A quick test I do in my raised beds is to compare 2 identical plants, one in conventionally fertilized soil and one in leaf mold grass pellet amended soil. By mid-season, the amended plant always shows stronger stems, better leaf color, and higher fruit density even without additional fertilizer. If you're serious about practical, actionable results, this is the kind of method you want to adopt. And I keep repeating this because it's critical. The success isn't in the flashy fertilizer label. It's in building living, functioning soil. The Topxen 5-layer worm composter, which I've been using for 2 years, is a perfect tool to accelerate this process. You can add kitchen scraps, garden debris, shredded leaves, and even a few grass pellets, and the worms convert it all into both castings and liquid fertilizer. That liquid can be applied directly to plants for a concentrated nutrient boost, especially effective in containers or early season seedlings. Check the link in the description if you want one for your setup. It's a simple, effective way to fast-track soil health. Finally, a few practical tips I've learned through testing this in different systems. First, always monitor moisture. Leaf mold and grass pellets need a damp but not soggy environment. Second, work the mix into the topsoil rather than dumping it on top. This encourages microbial interaction with roots. Third, layer your amendments gradually if you're new to the method. Don't overload young seedlings with too much nitrogen at once. Fourth, pair this with occasional compost teas or worm tea if possible. This further activates microbial life and keeps nutrients immediately available for uptake. The key takeaway here is straightforward. Serious gardeners feed soil first, plants second. Leaf mold builds structure, retains moisture, and supports microbial life. Grass pellets provide steady, safe nitrogen. Combined, they outperform standard fertilizers and keep your garden productive year after year. In my experience across raised beds, backyard plots, and even hybrid hydroponic systems, this is the most reliable, practical, and repeatable method I've found for producing nutrient-dense, high-yield crops. So if you're ready to step up your gardening game, try this combination. Amend your soil with leaf mold and grass pellets this season, keep the microbial life active, and watch your plants reward you with stronger roots, healthier leaves, and higher yields. And remember, if you want to speed things up with vermicomposting, check out the Topsean 5-layer worm compost bin linked in the description. It's the same one I use, and it's perfect for both small backyard gardens and container systems. If you found this advice valuable, make sure to subscribe to the channel for more hands-on, tested gardening hacks that actually work, and share this video with your fellow growers. Growing better food isn't about luck. It's about applying methods that are proven in real gardens, and this leaf mold plus grass pellet strategy is one of the most effective I've ever used.